Welcome, everyone. I'm Christina Johnson, Transformational Nutrition Coach and creator of the Emerge Weight Loss Method. And I am really excited to have Gail here with me today. Gail recently finished the Emerge program, and I asked her to come on and talk about her experience. Sometimes it's hard to picture what it actually looks like to create a healthy lifestyle in order to lose weight and improve your health. And so it's helpful to hear what it actually looked like for someone. And Gail had some great success with losing weight and feeling better, but she also had some big challenges that were hard to overcome. So welcome, Gail. Thanks for being here with me.
Hi, Christina.
Yeah. Do you just want to briefly introduce yourself to everyone?
I'm Gail Higgs, and I started working with Christina the beginning of October for 4 months. And I'm live in Omaha. I actually live in Arizona in the winter, where I am now, sitting outside in very nice weather. And I'm 69 years old. I've always been a smaller person, 5'2". But the last many years, I've had an extra 15 to 20 pounds that I've not been happy with. And I've been unable to lose that weight on my own.
Thank you. And for those of you watching, it's not always easy to talk about these things. So as we go, if you have any encouragement for Gail, feel free to put that in the comments. Or if there's things that she mentions that you can really relate to, we both would be interested in hearing that as well. So Gail, you mentioned before you and I met that you were struggling with 15, 20 extra pounds. Is there anything else that was going on for you then? How are you feeling? What made you even want to reach out and get some help?
I've battled fatigue for decades, and so I just feel kind of desperate to actually feel better. I don't have any major health issues. I don't have aches and pains, but I'm always battling fatigue. So I thought that adopting a more healthy eating style would help me with my energy level. And I do feel an increment better. I mean, there's no magic bullet here for that, but I'm doing what I can, at least from the standpoint of nutrition, that I do feel I have a little bit more energy.
Yeah. So for you, it was, yes, you wanted to lose weight, but the motivation was also for your health, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And actually, it was because my cholesterol is really high. So I went to the doctor, and it just keeps creeping up. And now it's 340. And the doctors want to put me on a statin, and I don't want to go on a statin. The doctor told me to change my diet, and that I would be retested in 6 months and see if the diet made any difference. So I have not yet had the testing, but I'm hopeful that it will help reduce the cholesterol, because I think it's more related to inflammation in the body rather than plaque building cholesterol, which was an opinion of another one of my doctors and another practitioner, that maybe it's not building plaque at all, that it's inflammation. So my goal is to reduce the cholesterol, reduce the inflammation.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you had a few motivators for wanting to create a healthy lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
So before you and I met, was there anything that you were trying on your own in order to lose weight or get healthy for the past couple of years?
I think I was trying to eat less.
Okay.
And that's about it. And I would lose like a pound.
Yeah.
And then it would just come right back on. I wasn't very disciplined about my eating. My husband and I, just on Tuesday nights, we get pizza from Papa Murphy's, and another night of the week he makes ribs. And so we just had our little habit patterns. We eat out a lot, and it's really hard to eat healthy by eating out. Even though I was making some good choices when I was eating out, it's still not the optimal for healthy nutrition.
Yeah. So you were trying to eat less, trying to make healthier choices, but you weren't getting any traction, it sounds like.
Right.
Do you have any ideas now, with all the wisdom and the insights you have looking back on that time? Do you have some insights on why that wasn't working, to just try to eat less, or why what you were doing wasn't successful?
I think that I wasn't doing the things that you emphasize. And so I think that's related. I was not even thinking about blood sugar I wasn't thinking about vegetables and fiber, which I think will help reduce the inflammation. And so I really think that it's some of the principles that you've introduced that has made the difference for me, because what else would it be? You
Yeah.
know, I've tried eating less, and I'm actually, I think, eating more now. And so I feel satisfied.
Yeah.
Um, and so I'm eating better foods, concentrating on the protein and the vegetables, and keeping my blood sugar levels more stable. So to me, that has to be it. I also cut out the sugar and the flour
Yeah.
products, basically going to a gluten-free diet again, which I had done years before when I didn't have a weight problem or a cholesterol problem.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the idea that you might even be eating more now, because I think a lot of women, and maybe some of the women watching this can relate, but yet you think, well, I just have to eat less. That's the solution to weight loss, but it wasn't working for you. And yeah, sometimes a lot of people actually need to eat more to find success. So,
Yeah, I was eating salads too, eating less, eating lots of salads. And now I do eat salads because it's some good fiber and greens or whatever. But what I realize is that that's really not enough. It's not getting me the protein that
yeah.
I need. And so I'm actually eating more because I'm not just eating salads or eating less. And yet I've lost 15 pounds and I have lost 2 inches all around.
Um,
And so it's 2 inches of fat that I've lost all around. So it's a great result for me.
Yeah, I love that. And such a great takeaway for everyone watching, that even if you feel like you're trying everything and you're eating less and you're trying to eat salads and all the healthy things and it's not working, maybe we just might need to do things a little bit differently. Okay, so let's talk about, you decided to join Emerge. And I am curious. I remember you mentioning that you went to one of my workshops and I offered for you to talk to me if you want to get more help. And your initial thought was, no, I don't want to. Can you talk a little bit about that? What was your hesitation there, and why did you decide to reach out eventually?
Well, I always think that I know what to do. And I am well informed
Yeah.
about healthy eating. I was well informed before I
Yep.
started working with you. And so it's just my self-sufficiency. Like, oh, I can do this on my own. I shouldn't need to have to work with a coach, and I don't want to pay money. You
Mhm.
know, that I should be able to do this myself.
Yes.
But then I did have a conversation. I went to another one of your sessions, and then you offered a complimentary 1 hour call. And so I wasn't going to do that. And then after a couple of weeks of thinking about it, I'm like, okay, I'm really not doing anything different.
Mhm.
And so I'll make the call because you had offered it. And so I finally decided that I've been trying to do this. It isn't working.
Yeah.
And so I need some help. So
Yeah.
that's how I eventually decided to get with the program.
Yeah, and I'm glad you shared that, because I think there's a lot of women that it's either that self sufficiency where we feel like I'm successful, I'm good in all these areas of my life, I should be able to figure this out on my own too. But sometimes the weight thing, it's hard to do on our own. And so, yeah, we need to reach out for help at some point.
I
Uh,
think one of my early hesitations, though, I can remember before I actually committed, I can remember saying to you, oh, but you're going to make me cook, aren't you?
Yes. Okay. Yes. I want to talk about this because when you joined Emerge, there were some big changes that you were going to have to make. So, talk about that, where you were at with everything before Emerge.
Well, I don't cook, and I never have cooked. And so I rely on just eating snack things in the evening or going out to eat. I
Yeah.
really
Or what your
very
husband cooks.
rarely cooked. Yes, and my husband cooks. We've been married almost 14 years, and while he's a great cook and his food is delicious, it is not healthy food. It is a lot of red meat, a lot of fat, a lot of molasses, lard, no vegetables. The only vegetable is corn, which is just a starch, and potatoes. And this is why I gained weight over these last 14 years, because I didn't cook at all and relied on what he made. And
Yeah.
it's delicious. And I ate too much, as well as it being, the wrong thing. And he wanted me to eat his food. If I tried to cut down on a portion, eat something smaller, he would say, "Oh, don't you like what I made?"
Yes.
And
And then you feel
and
bad. Like,
right. And so I just kept eating it. And so it's taken a while for him to concede that we will eat different things. He's not going to change how he eats. And
yeah.
so I just had to start taking responsibility for myself. And that if I was going to be serious about this, I was going to have to eat something different. Now we eat together most often, but we're eating different things. And occasionally he'll eat something that I make, but not very often. But he had to become willing to have us eat differently. I just had to take responsibility for taking care of my health. But we
That's
had to work through that.
Yeah, that's a really good way to phrase it. And I know there's a lot of women that feel that way. Like they know their husband doesn't want to eat differently and they don't want to cook 2 meals or whatever the case might be. But I like how you said that you just had to take responsibility for your own health and do what was best for you and
Mhm.
work through it with your husband. And you feel
Yeah.
like you guys have come to an understanding now.
Yes. And now he'll say, "Okay, I'm going to have ribs ready in an hour." He said, "If you want a vegetable, now's the time to make it or to get it ready." And so he's actually indicating, "Okay, I know now that you're going to have vegetables. And so here's the timing of the meal."
Yeah.
And so I think that's great because it means that he's accepted that
Yeah.
I'm doing something different or adding something to the meal,
Yeah.
you know.
I
And a
love
lot of times I do still eat what he's making because partly because it's easy, partly to be social. It's
that.
also good, but I don't have to overindulge
Yeah.
and I can add to it the healthy components that I know that I need.
Yes. That's amazing. And I think it's just a good illustration for everyone that it can be hard at first. Change is hard on the people around us when we need to do these things for ourselves, but
Mhm.
it can work. It takes some time and some effort, but you're in a good place now. I love that.
And
So,
I have learned to cook certain
yeah,
things.
that's the other thing I wanted to talk about because you did not cook or
Yeah.
grocery shop.
Yeah, like I had never roasted vegetables. I didn't know what to do. I knew it was on a pan. You put some oil and maybe some spices, but when there's a hurdle to overcome, when I have not done something before, it just looms large and
Yeah.
it hindered me from even getting started because I didn't know what to do. And it's pretty elementary. And now I can do it. It's not like I have to follow a recipe, but the first time I'm like looking at a recipe, how to roast Brussels sprouts, because honestly, I didn't know. But I have embraced adding vegetables, and so I've learned how to roast vegetables and how to bake some fish with vegetables. I rely a lot on Christina's taco bowl. I,
I love the taco
because it's
bowl.
really easy.
Yeah.
So I don't have a big repertoire of foods that I eat. I still need to make more effort to look at some recipes, but at least I have a few that have become my go-tos that are easy and that I can plan for. And that's the other thing. I never planned out meals at all. It's like, what do I feel like eating now? Oh, well, we'll go out. Oh, I'll have popcorn or a frozen dinner or prepared dinner or something like that. And so now I've had to plan ahead in order to have the vegetables in the house and to get them made so that I can stick with the program.
Yeah. So those are a couple big hurdles for you.
Yeah,
Taking the
huge
steps
for
to
me.
cook and meal plan. What was
Yeah.
that process like for you? Whether the challenge for someone is cooking or meal planning, or maybe it's giving up sugar, I think it's just helpful to have insights on how did that process go or what made it possible or easier for you to do that.
Well, I relied on the recipes that you offered through the program
Yeah.
and also through the coaching calls. You provided some additional helps for me of how to prepare something and some additional recipes, some additional spices and things, because that is an area that I struggle with. So, had you not provided the coaching and the information, I
Yeah.
don't think I would have ever gotten started. And so now I do have a little tendency to look at some recipes when they come across in an email from the Omaha World Herald or something. Sometimes I'll look at them and I'm thinking, oh, I could probably make that one. So
That's a big change for you.
yeah, because that's not how I've wanted to spend my time. And I don't really want to spend my time that way, but I do want to be healthy and
Yeah.
have good nutrition. And so it requires some effort. And so I had to get over the mental hurdle that it required something from me that I didn't want to do. Not
Yeah.
that you made me do it. You're very gentle in your prodding, asking me, how can I incorporate something in terms of meal planning or whatever. You're a very gentle coach that was what I needed. Someone to continue to ask me questions to get me to move along, but not be so severe or bold that
It's
I
like
would
the biggest
automatically
decision.
resist, because
Yeah.
I'm not going to be pushed.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Yeah. You need to make the decision for yourself and be ready to do the changes.
mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like the way that you presented it to me and the ways that you helped me through the program.
Thank you. I'm glad that that approach worked for you. You brought up the mental hurdle too, which I think is an important thing because so often people think, kind of like what you were saying before we worked together, you knew what you needed to do,
Mhm.
you were educated, but something was really stopping you from getting results. And part of it is the information piece, I think, and knowing exactly how to do the blood sugar and
Mhm.
all that. But part of it too is the mental hurdles and getting some support to get over that hurdle, I think, to start the cooking, to start doing things that felt hard and uncomfortable for you.
Yeah.
And I just remember too, I feel like you had some pretty big mindset shifts. Like when we started, I remember you saying that it's a waste of time to have to cook and to do these things. So I'm
Mhm.
curious, do you have any additional thoughts on that and how some of your mindset changed through the process?
I think it has changed because I know, while I still don't care to spend my time that way, I don't think that I think of it as a waste of time any longer. I think of it as this is what I need to do to be healthy, and that's important to me.
Yep.
And so that's the reason that I do it,
Yeah.
or
Yep.
have taken some steps to do it. I think the shift is that it's not that it's a waste, it's really an investment in
Yeah.
myself and in my health. And I need to be and willing to do it, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
have become willing to do it.
Yep. And that I
Kind
think
of
that's
like
what like the
exercise.
key to success.
Kind of like exercise. I don't really enjoy it,
Yep.
but I feel like I need to do it for my health, and so I do it. And for me, cooking and meal planning is the same way. Now, there's no way that I'm ever going to plan 7 days of meals. It's going to still be 1 or 2 days at a time. But I have learned to think, oh, okay, tomorrow I'm going to be really busy, and I need to think about what am I going to eat for supper, or what am I going to eat for lunch? Do I have something? Do I need to go out and get the ingredients or whatever? So I at least am thinking further ahead than I ever did before, because I
Yeah.
relied on, oh, what do I feel like eating?
Yes.
Well, you feel like eating salt and sugar and
Yep.
all of that stuff. And so it is more of a decision. And I think having a bit of a structure, those kind of goals, not spiking my blood sugar and having a vegetable at every meal, those are like concrete guidelines that
Yeah.
I've latched onto.
Yeah.
And so it's that structure that's helping me to stay with it.
Yep. That makes sense. Is there anything else, like any other particular changes you feel like you made that were really helpful for you in losing the weight and feeling better? I mean, you kind of talked about it a little bit here and there, but the
Anything
things you
more?
already mentioned, balancing the blood sugar, doing some cooking, meal planning, all of that. Okay.
Yeah, that I guess I could say that the idea of having a vegetable at every meal was certainly a new approach.
How did you
And
feel about that at first? Because somebody just told me yesterday they were thinking about joining. They're like, I don't think I can eat vegetables at every meal. So it was a big turnoff. So I'm curious what
yeah,
your thoughts were.
it is, but like for breakfast, almost every day or every other day, my breakfast is the protein smoothie that includes the greens.
Yep.
So could I be eating more vegetables than the greens I put in the smoothie. I really do put a lot of greens in the smoothie. I could probably be adding to that, like my cucumbers, which I do like to eat in the morning. But at least I'm doing the protein smoothie with the vegetables.
Yeah.
And so that's really helped me. And I rely a lot on the protein powders too, in
Yep.
order to get enough protein, because I might eat a meal, but I'm not going to get my 30 grams of protein. So I might follow up the meal with a protein drink,
Yep.
hot, usually hot. I like to heat it up and mix it in there. So I feel like I'm actually getting the amount of protein that I'm supposed to have.
Yeah. Yeah, you're really good about piecing meals together and just making do with what you have and making it balanced.
Mm-hmm. And I mention this to people because I'm only 5'2", so 15 pounds on my slender stature. Everybody notices now that I've lost weight. It's really amazing that people
Uh,
are commenting, because 15 pounds isn't really that much, but on my frame, it's really noticeable. And so I'm telling people this, I'm having vegetables with my breakfast.
all these crazy things. How
So
are
yeah,
you
it's
feeling
been kind
now? Like,
kind of funny.
yeah.
So
How are you feeling now that you've lost the weight and about the results you've gotten?
yeah, I feel really good about myself because it's so obvious when I look in the mirror, and all my clothes are too big, which I think is great.
Yep.
And now I can go back to some of those other clothes hanging in my closet. Then I don't have to think, oh, is that going to fit, or is that going to look too tight? Because it's all going to fit now.
Yeah.
And so I'm no longer looking at other people and comparing myself like, oh, I used to be thin and now here I am. And it was really getting me down. It's not ever good mental health to make those comparisons, but I was doing it all the time. And now I'm just not really noticing other people because I'm satisfied with how I look. So
Yeah.
it's really boosted how I think about myself.
Yep. I love that. Are there any other changes that you've noticed or results you've gotten just in how you feel or any other health things that you've noticed?
I think just that a bit of more energy. And I was having a bit of digestion issues, and I don't really seem to have that anymore. I've noticed peanuts will bother me, but it's really hard for me to give up peanuts. Uh, but I can see the correlation now between some of the things that I'm eating and how my digestive system is reacting. And before, I didn't really notice that. Because I've cut out sugar and flour, when I occasionally do have a dessert because I'm at somebody's house, my system reacts to that. And so it's a further incentive to not go back to that kind of eating
Yeah.
because it doesn't feel good.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me more about that. Is it feeling like this way of eating is sustainable? Is it something that you feel like you can realistically continue to do?
Yeah, I'd really like to. And I used to eat more this way. There's more to this than the gluten-free diet that I had observed before, because before I hadn't paid attention to any of the blood sugar issues or the vegetables and the fiber. But I just have come to believe that this is what is right for me
Yeah.
because of not just the weight loss, but the fat loss and just feeling good in general. That is the incentive to continue to do what I'm doing. So I don't think I'm going to just drop it all now that I've lost the weight. That was one of my concerns,
Yeah.
that, okay, now I've lost it and now I'll lighten up on myself and eat whatever. But I had lost 15 pounds before during a really stressful time in my life, and I just gained it all right back. And so this time I'm utilizing those principles, and I know if I'm deviating from what I should, and
Yeah.
I don't let the deviation just go on for
Yep.
days, but to get back on track.
Yeah.
So I think there's simplicity in the program because there's just some very good guidelines.
Yep.
And so it's not hard to remember.
Yeah. Yeah. So it doesn't feel overly complicated or anything to maintain.
No, the
Yeah.
most complicated part for me is the meal planning and the cooking.
Yeah. Which is fair. I appreciate you sharing that. Is there anything in particular about Emerge that you noticed is different from other diets or ways of trying to lose weight that you found helpful?
It's the emphasis on the blood sugar
Mm.
and the vegetables with every meal, and the protein too. I guess it's really those concrete guidelines
Yep.
that were missing from what I knew before.
Yeah.
And since this has worked, and I, for the most part, maintained the weight loss, I just have to think, well, this is the way to do it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it works for you.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's great. Well, are there any other last things that you want to share or last thoughts or anything as we start to wrap up here?
Just that I'm really pleased with the results, and it was great to work with you through it. You're a gentle coach, you know what you're doing, and you know how to kind of gently lead people along to make some of those shifts that are hard. And so I think having a coach is a great idea because I think most of us just need help. I needed help because I wasn't doing it on my own. And I already was of a mindset for a lot of the food choices. But still, I learned more about healthy oils and unhealthy oils and things through the educational pieces that were helpful. But it's really having it put all together in one place, working with a coach like you who are so encouraging and would gently move me along and help me overcome my resistance because I was resistant initially, and you overcame that, helped me overcome my resistance, but in a gentle way. And so I think that's a great aspect of the program that you have. You have all the educational pieces, you have all the practical pieces, and just your personality and the way you can gently lead people along, I think is what helps make this a success. So I wish all of your clients great success as I've had.
Aw, thank you. I appreciate it. And I think one of the keys to success is that willingness that you had to just keep on persevering, to keep figuring it out, even if it wasn't
Mhm.
easy, but just to keep asking questions and to stick with it until it did feel easier. So,
Yeah, and I know your program is 3 months. I think I got an extra 4 weeks because it was a promotional period, and for me, I needed the 4 months.
mm,
That was very helpful. I was kind of slow to get started because it just was overwhelming at first. So I was proceeding very slowly. And my life is busy. I am retired, but I'm just as busy now as I was before when I was working. And so there were weeks that I just couldn't get to the educational materials. So for me, the extra 4 weeks was really helpful.
yeah, to have that flexibility.
Mhm.
Well, thank you so much, Gail, for sharing all this. For anyone watching, if you are curious to learn more about the Emerge program and if it could work for you, if you want results like Gail got, then the next step would be to book a complimentary call with me, a lose weight, keep it off breakthrough call, where we'll just talk about what your goals are, what you're struggling with, and figure out together if this would be the right next step for you or not. So I will put a link in the comments or the description for this video where you can book that call. No pressure call, but just a chance to talk and figure out if this might work for you or not. So, Gail, thank you again so much for just being willing to share and being open and vulnerable. I know it's not always like comfortable and easy to do things like this, but I very much appreciate your willingness to do this with me.
Thank you, Christina. It means a lot to have worked with you and to have such great success.
I'm very happy for you. All right. Thanks, Gail. I'm sure we'll talk again soon. And thanks, everyone, for watching.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.